Hey guys, Jordan with TYT and TYT Politics. I hope everyone is doing well. It is Monday, about 1 o'clock Eastern Time. I've got about 20 minutes before I head to the city. I will be recording an interview with Lee Camp of Redacted Tonight this afternoon. I believe it will be airing on Redacted Tonight on RT America later in the week. We'll be talking WikiLeaks, we'll be talking Standing Rock, a lot of the big stories that the progressive movement cares about. Obviously, I've been a little busy covering WikiLeaks as of late, so apologies if I'm a little behind. I'm balancing what is new parts released every single day, which consist of thousands of emails, with my other duties, which is covering Standing Rock, the day-to-day activities in the campaign, and much, much more. So I'm a little bit behind. This morning, WikiLeaks released part 17. Obviously, they've been releasing new parts every single day, I believe, for over 2 weeks now. So they are up to part 17. I have not gone through part 17 extensively. I'm kind of backtracking, which I've been doing most of the time with WikiLeaks. Again, it's just too much stuff for one person to go through and keep up with. So I'll be going through what I thought were the highlights of part 16, and we'll have part 17 for you most likely tomorrow. I'll be tweeting part 17 later on, the emails that I find that are very interesting. So, before I get into it, just want to announce a couple housekeeping. TYT Politics, which is youtube.com/TYT Politics. We just passed 95,000 subscribers, so 5,000 away from a 100,000. I think it's really an amazing accomplishment that we are going to reach 100,000. I think I started in January and we were at 3,000 subscribers. So to go up essentially 100,000 subscribers in 10 months is a testament to you guys. I know we're on the Young Turks page right now, but all of you who have subscribed to the channel, who watch the videos, who share the videos, and of course comment on the videos, we really appreciate it. And hopefully you could spread the word. Let's try to get another 5,000, hopefully by the election. I think that would be a great accomplishment. So, part 16. Found an email from Herb Sandler, who is a mega donor to Hillary Clinton. He's found throughout these emails. By the way, throughout the Podesta emails, you see the campaign, Hillary Clinton's campaign, communicating directly with donors. So we could see what an influence donors have on the campaign, because essentially they are emailing Clinton's campaign with articles that they find interesting, with advice to the Clinton campaign, sometimes with requests. So as you could see, the Clinton campaign, who says they're going to overturn Citizens United and all this business, was kind of had speed. The donors had the Clinton campaign on speed dial, essentially. So Herb Sandler, responding to an email, an article in Haaretz. Haaretz is a fairly liberal paper in Israel. The story in Haaretz, let me get you the, I believe it said so. Israel's new lawyer, Hillary Clinton. That was the headline. And essentially the article was about Hillary Clinton emulating Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. Jordan, whiny little bitch. Thank you. The article was talking about how Hillary is basically emulating Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. She is talking like a hawk. She is essentially saying Israel could do no wrong. And the donor, who is Jewish, I believe, writes to John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, very disappointing. I guess it's clear now she plans to run. I'm not looking forward to her other policy statements. So this email was in August of 2014, almost more than half a year before Hillary Clinton actually announced. And the donor, who has donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign many, many times, writes about this article that essentially shows Hillary Clinton is, cloning herself to be more like Bibi Netanyahu. Says very disappointing. I guess it's clear now she plans to run. I'm not looking forward to her other policy statements. Thought that was interesting because it shows that even her Jewish donors don't like her hawkish right-wing talk on Israel. So, moving onward. Another one that I found very interesting was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, Robbie Mook, who is throughout these emails, is in the emails, seems to be confused on what they're going to release, how many emails they're going to release after getting subpoenaed by the FBI. So Robbie writes, I'm sorry, I'm confused. What is it that we are saying we want to do? Release everything or just release what the committee has requested? Talking about, I believe, the Benghazi committee. Cheryl, I have one other thing I'd like to ask about quickly if you have a second to chat. So that was in response, that's Robbie Mook, and that's in response to an email by Philip Raines, who is another Hillary Clinton aide who's spotted throughout these emails. Philip Raines says, hey, we're on with David. Yes, they have everything, but they don't believe they have everything. So he's talking about, I believe, either the Benghazi committee or the FBI. I'm assuming it's the FBI. Yes, they have everything, but they don't believe they have everything. But no, they are not asking for all 55,000, but nevertheless gives us an excuse. Going to draft a tweet that states the intention. So first off, the FBI was asking for all 55,000 emails, so I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, they have everything, but they don't believe they have everything. But no, they are not asking for all 55,000 emails. But nevertheless gives us an excuse. Not sure what that means. And he was going to draft a tweet that states the campaign's intention. So you see this throughout the different parts that WikiLeaks has released. The campaign basically waxing and waning. How many emails to release. How we could cover for the fact that we're not releasing all the emails. The legality. You see David Kendall, who's one of their lawyers, telling them what they can and cannot legally do. And Robbie Mook here, basically all the back and forth and all the spinning and all the essentially trying to release only things that won't hurt her, says, honestly, I'm confused. What is it we're trying to do here? So I thought that was interesting, and I also thought it was interesting that one of the aides is talking, let's just draft a tweet with our intentions. Yeah, that's going to get it done. Moving onward. This one, I mean, I don't really think you need to hear more emails to know that Hillary Clinton is a neocon, but this is just beyond the pale. The former Undersecretary of State to Condoleezza Rice, obviously Condoleezza Rice was Secretary of State under George W. Bush, Nicholas Burns. He was a scholar at the Harvard Kennedy School, which has a lot of neocons on the payroll. So Nicholas Burns, who was the former Undersecretary of State for Condoleezza Rice, so right under Condoleezza Rice, emails John Podesta in January of this year, so during the Democratic primary. Thank you very much for your email. I have really enjoyed working with Jake, Laura, and the foreign policy team. As I spent most of my career in the Foreign Service, this is the very first presidential campaign in which I have worked. It has been a great experience, and I am proud to support HRC. I'll be on leave from the Kennedy School for the next 5 months at Stanford. I've told the campaign that I am happy to speak anywhere you need me. So this email goes on with him saying he'd love to give advice. This is the Undersecretary of State to Condoleezza Rice in the Bush administration, essentially saying, I'm really enjoying working with Jake, Laura, and the foreign policy team. That would be Jake Sullivan, who is the main policy advisor for foreign policy. So they have a Bush neocon giving them advice and working actively to shape their foreign policy platform. I don't really know what else I could say on that other than that tells you all you need to know. This is someone, by the way, Nicholas Burns has never known a war he doesn't like. He believes in, America is a force for globalization and all this business. And he is advising Hillary Clinton's campaign and essentially telling John Podesta, this is January 3rd, so around New Year's, I want to do more for your campaign. So make no mistake, it's not only that she is falsely trying to portray herself as someone who looks at war as a last resort, but she's literally taking advice from the same people who were in the room when George W. Bush's administration was sending us to a fake war. So this should be very troubling to anybody who is afraid that Hillary Clinton as president means war. And by the way, Emma's been doing videos on this. I've been looking more specifically into the specific emails. She's talking bigger picture. The more the Clinton campaign, the DNC, Donna Brazile, who obviously isn't fond of me at the moment after our exchange, the more they keep beating their chest. This is what happened. This was the beating of the chest that led us to the Iraq War. They keep beating their chest on Russia. And before you know it, when you do that, you're going to be in a war. with Russia. And most people would say that's not the best idea for a country that's been in war between Iraq, Afghanistan for the last 16 years. And Russia is not exactly a country, it's a nuclear power. It's not exactly a country that you want to go to war with. Vladimir Putin is a sociopath. So they are not only demagoguing on the issue of the emails and WikiLeaks pushing out propaganda that it's slam dunk, we know it's the Russians, even though I've seen no concrete evidence that it is the Russians who have hacked these emails and then gave it to WikiLeaks. So that's a former Bush advisor, Undersecretary of State, advising the Clinton campaign. Now, this one I thought was just something else. So Hillary Clinton's campaign, they're talking about a specific case of an African American male who was shot and killed. The email is about a draft for a speech she's going to give in Ohio and Wisconsin. Uma Abedin, who is Hillary Clinton's, essentially her right-hand woman, writes about, this is again about, let me find the gentleman's name. Okay. Somebody who works for Clinton writes, deferred to the larger group on this, but flagging. Can we keep the reference to Dontre Hamilton case and his mother? That's going to be important for our local politics here. So Dontre Hamilton, another African American, I believe. I don't want to say something wrong. So let me just Google it quickly to make sure. Dontre Hamilton. One second, guys. Dontre Hamilton, excuse me. Dontre Hamilton. Yes, so Dontre Hamilton was shot in Milwaukee in 2014. No charges were brought by a police officer. No charges were brought by the district attorney in the shooting, of course. So another shooting where cops get off scot-free. So Hillary Clinton's campaign says in the email, defer to the larger group on this, but flagging, can we keep the reference to the Dontre Hamilton case and his mother? That's going to be important for our local politics here. So somebody else responds in that chain, but for Women for Hillary organizing purposes, the New Hampshire speech and Walker works. Uma, Hillary Clinton's top aide, writes back, yes, definitely okay to keep the reference. She never wants to look like we are taking political advantage of a tragedy with a family, but tone seems right here. So Hillary Clinton she never wants to look like she's taking advantage of African Americans shot by police, killed by police, but let's do it anyway in this case. Why not? The tone is right. So I thought that was fairly self-explanatory that they're saying the right things. We don't want to take advantage of this for political purposes, but then they decide to put it in a speech anyway. Now, moving on. I got to speed through these because I'm going soon. Another one that I thought was very, very interesting. Let me scroll up to it for you. And by the way, it's not easy keeping up with these WikiLeaks, so thank you for bearing with me as I try to find them. This one I found this morning. James Clyburn, congressman from South Carolina, a very, very pivotal figure in South Carolina politics. Most people think that he put Obama over the edge in South Carolina. Obama was going to win South Carolina anyway in the primary against Hillary Clinton. If we're keeping it real, first African-American president, majority black state. But Hillary Clinton's campaign was screaming mad that Clyburn, who has a relationship with the Clintons, chose to endorse Obama over Clinton. Now, in the Democratic primary, as of February 10th, James Clyburn told USA Today that his heart and his head were at odds with one another. His heart was telling him to endorse someone, my assumption is Bernie Sanders, but his head was telling him Hillary Clinton. He didn't say, my heart's telling me Bernie, head telling me Hillary. He just said, my heart is telling me one thing and my head is telling me another thing. This was on February 10th in an email in an interview with USA Today. On that same day, Hillary Clinton's campaign in an email chain, we have his endorsement confirmed on Clyburn. He would like to do it on Meet the Press in South Carolina on Sunday the 21st. After that, once HRC is back in the state that week, he would campaign with her. So this is James Clyburn, African-American congressman from South Carolina on February 10th, playing dumb that he has not decided his endorsement yet. He's debating between his head and his heart. His people in his life, his older friends or family like Hillary. His grandson likes Bernie. He has a tug of war, yet he confirmed with the Clinton campaign the same exact day that he told USA Today he hadn't made up his mind. He confirmed that he was endorsing her. Is it scandalous? No, it's not scandalous. But it shows that most politicians are liars, even someone that I respect, James Clyburn. And, he wasn't being honest. He was for Hillary Clinton the whole time. He just didn't want to put his thumb on the scale too early before the South Carolina primary. So this was on February 10th. He ended up endorsing her on February 19th. The primary was February 27th. So he told them February 10th, I'm in. Same day, tells USA Today, I don't know. 9 days later, endorses her. And Hillary Clinton, crushed Bernie Sanders in South Carolina. So that shows you Representative Clyburn's honesty. Here's another one, Daily Beast. I've been criticizing the Daily Beast all campaign. It's a mouthpiece for Hillary Clinton's campaign. Chelsea Clinton is literally on the board of the Daily Beast parent company. So in an email exchange, they are talking about, Hillary Clinton's campaign is talking about a story that the Daily Beast wrote, essentially about Vermont, how it has a pretty high incarceration rate for African Americans. They were trying to tie that to Bernie Sanders, that Bernie Sanders has not done anything for African Americans. He's the senator from Vermont. The incarceration rate is very high there. So the campaign writes, this was part of the Daily Beast story that we worked around aggressively. So I think it's been pitched, but they may have other ideas of where to go with this. So I've worked in media. I worked at MSNBC. I worked at Fox. That's a whole other discussion. When somebody writes, this was a part of the Daily Beast story that we worked around aggressively, that means this is the Daily Beast story that we planted the information and the Daily Beast wrote for us. That's what that means. So Hillary Clinton's campaign pushed these statistics about the high incarceration rate in Vermont. And then after the Daily Beast wrote it, they, in an email chain, were continuing to talk about it. Watson and I were talking about this yesterday. We thought we could maybe get someone to draw a line between his vote for the crime bill and Vermont's high incarceration rate, tied in with the Daily Beast story that he ignored African Americans in the state. So not only did they push the Daily Beast to write this, after it was published, they wanted the Daily Beast to add in more. So, and you know what, bottom line, I'm not an expert on Vermont's incarceration rate. Bernie Sanders is not the governor of Vermont. He is the senator. If they have a high incarceration rate, yes, the senator, among African Americans, yes, the senator could do things to try and improve that. But I have a hard time believing Bernie Sanders has never said anything or tried to do anything to curb the incarceration rate of African Americans in Vermont. By the way, Vermont is a predominantly white state, so that's some context. It doesn't have a high African American population in the first place. But basically, they were trying to distort, take out of context, high incarceration rate among African Americans in Vermont, tie it to Bernie Sanders, and use the Daily Beast, who is essentially their PR, one of their public relations sites, to try to hammer that home. Moving on. This one was good. I wonder, since Trump doesn't know how to use WikiLeaks effectively and just keeps foaming at the mouth on other things, this one is pretty troubling. So in an email dated, let's see here, February 26th of this year, so during the primary, Hillary Clinton's communications director gets an email from Joel Johnson. He's, I think, the president of Glover Park Group. Glover Park Group is a consulting group in D.C. Many of its staffers have consulted for Hillary Clinton's campaign. They've consulted for Hillary Clinton's super PACs. They work for Hillary Clinton, basically. So Joel writes, I know you can't look past Bernie and the March primaries, but who is in charge of the Trump Swift Boat project? Needs to be ready, funded, and unleashed when we decide, but not a half-assed scramble. I mean, it pains me to try to defend Donald Trump because, you know what I think of Donald Trump. But basically, they were already preparing a Swift Boat project on Donald Trump. We know what happened with John Kerry in 2004 during that election. And this guy who's consulting the campaign is saying, hey, I know you can't really look past Super Tuesday, the upcoming primaries, but who's readying the assault on Donald Trump for swift boating? Which I assume they were talking about his record dodging military service about 4 or 5 times, I believe. Jennifer Palmieri, the communications director, responds, "Gee, thanks, Joel. We thought we could half-ass it. Let's discuss." So that just shows you they were actively plotting in March, possibly for Trump to be the nominee, and how to distort. Well, it's not really distorting because he did try to, he did dodge the military, but how to hammer him on that. So this is not a campaign that was only focused on going after Bernie Sanders. They were multitasking, going after Donald Trump at the same time. Here is more evidence of direct coordination with super PACs. So Hillary Clinton's campaign writes an email, nightly report attached. Few things to note today. We're now showing the RFH addresses being added onto our list, which has doubled our list size, shown on slide 2. RFH means Ready for Hillary. That's one of the super PACs, Ready for Hillary. It was around way before she announced for the second time. So we're now showing the Ready for Hillary email addresses being added onto our list, which has doubled our list size. So the only way for them to get the Ready for Hillary email list, which then doubled the campaign's email list, and the email list is presumably voters, maybe donors, is somebody had to send it from Ready for Hillary to the Clinton campaign, or give it to a go-between. But that's coordination, and it's illegal. And I'm not shocked anymore, because this is about at least the 10th thing I've seen that shows direct coordination between Hillary Clinton's campaign and its various super PACs, including Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman having meetings with super PAC members. So with representatives of their super PACs. Has anything been done about it? No. Has the mainstream media covered it? No. But this is more evidence. They've doubled their email list because somebody from Ready for Hillary gave them their my guess is donors, gave them their donors. So more coordination, nothing to see here, no big deal. Oh yeah, so this one was interesting. In 2014, before Hillary Clinton announced, you have Robbie Mook, who is her campaign manager and was essentially operating as her campaign manager before she announced, writes to Hillary Clinton and Uma Abedin and John Podesta, Madam Secretary, I had a conversation with Simas today. I don't know who Simas is. A few things to report. Number one, he said Debbie and Amy are supportive of bringing someone in to fill a general election planning/preparation role. Debbie would be Debbie Wasserman Schultz, former DNC chairwoman, rigged the primary against Bernie Sanders. You know the story. We agreed that Jen O'Malley Dillon would be a very strong candidate. She has the experience, relationships, gravitas to navigate the building. It's also completely credible for the White House to say that she's their pick. We agreed she should be our first choice for now unless we think of someone better. So this is before Hillary Clinton announced, so we can't say direct coordination between the DNC, the Obama administration, and Hillary Clinton's campaign because technically there was no campaign. But still, it does show that before she announced, they were actively talking to the DNC, they were actively talking to the Obama administration, and they were all behind closed doors working together to set up Hillary Clinton's campaign for success and also set up the general election fight. So this is not, when people talk about the rigged system, it's not only talking about potential election fraud. It's talking about stacking the deck as much as you humanly can for one candidate against another. As early as 2014, before the candidate of your choice even decided to run. So, again, Hillary Clinton had not announced yet, so you can't say it was her campaign coordinating. But it's also illegal to do campaign activities before announcing. So that proposes questions as well. I'll do one more for you because I got to run to do this interview. So this one, classic Hillary Clinton, the Clinton campaign. As I've reported, there's been email after email after email showing them getting direct advice requests from bankers. These emails also went back to 2008, showed that Obama, before he was even elected the first time, was literally getting emails from a top executive at Citibank about who he should appoint to his staff and cabinet. And also this Citibank banker, whose name is Michael Froman, and ended up becoming Obama's trade representative. He basically wrote the TPP, which we all know is a disaster. He was also vetting candidates for the Obama campaign before he was elected. So the revolving door between banks and the campaigns, obviously the door is open, is swinging wide open. both with Obama, who is for, quote, hope and change, and Clinton's campaign. Anyway, this email is from John Podesta, wrote, I think you may, hold on, let me find the email because there's two parts to it. Give me 1 second. So this email was from Robert Wolf, who was the president of UBS, which is a big bank. Robert Wolf, John Podesta writes to Hillary Clinton. I think you may be seeing him today and wanted to let you know where his head is at. I spent an hour with him on Tuesday. So John Podesta is sitting around with the former president of UBS. This guy was also an economic. I think he was on Obama's Council of Economic Advisors. I saw him a few days earlier at David Brock's book party and had heard he was cranky, so asked if I could come see him. He wasn't so much cranky as trying to figure out where, if anywhere, he fits in the campaign. He has a super close relationship with Obama. Obama asks his advice on all sorts of economic matters. He's not expecting that, but hoping that he could have some direct relationship with you and that the campaign would seek his views on economic issues. But he raises money, but hopes that he isn't just connected to the campaign only as a fundraiser and only through Dennis. Finally, I think he feels like he's at the end of a long line of Wall Street people you've known for a long time. He's on business-oriented TV a lot and is pretty good at it, so he could be an asset and validator beyond whatever he could do financially. So basically, this guy's a friend of Obama. He's a former president of UBS, which is another bank that they're in bed with. He was on Obama's economic advisors. Obama gets, he has Obama's ear on, Obama gives him his ear on economic issues, and this would be a good guy for you to kiss his ass a little more, beyond just the fact that he's fundraising for you. But sorry guys, cut out for a second. We got to be friends with the bankers. So this just shows you there is no revolving door. It's open. There's no door. They just walk in and out. And Podesta is basically saying, you gotta get in with this guy. So Hillary Clinton writes, I was supposed to see him today, but he canceled because he said he was moving apartments. Now, supposed to see him Wednesday. Shall I call him before then? So Hillary Clinton's like, yes, sir. Let me call the master. If he's cranky, we don't want to lose him. This is what you see throughout these emails. The banks have her on speed dial. Donors have his campaign on speed dial. Meanwhile, she said she's the progressive who gets things done. Yeah, she does get things done for bankers. She gets things done for donors. She gets things done for neocons. A lot of good things done. I'll close with this. People ask, a lot of the trolls ask, Jordan, why are you beating a dead horse here? Clinton's going to win, which I agree, she is going to win. Sorry to say. I think she's going to win. For the people who say, Jordan, why do you keep saying that? I don't believe the polls. Yeah, the Republicans in 2012 kept saying up until election day, the polls are wrong and Romney's going to win. Well, Romney got crushed. All the polls are not lying. Just because you want them to be lying doesn't mean they're lying. Some of the polls, I think, are oversampled among Democrats, but you don't have 10 to 15 polls all saying she's up in all the swing states, all saying she's up between 8 and 10 points nationally. They're not all lying. They're not all rigged. So I'm sorry. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear. As of today, unless something criminal comes out in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, it looks like she's on pace to win. But the reason I am reporting this is because it shows corruption. And where I come from, you report on corruption. So I'm going to keep reporting it, whether it has an effect on the election or not. My main goal is not reporting this to sway the election. My main goal is to report this because it's news. It's important, and it sheds a light on the revolving door that is our politicians and the donors and the banks and the neocons. So I'm going to keep reporting on this. And if you don't like it, too bad. Go somewhere else. But for those of you who do like it, thank you very much. And of course, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. We have a whole playlist of my reports on WikiLeaks. I think it's about 15 videos at this point. Subscribe, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. Thanks again.